Welcome back to the table, friends. I am your humble host, GreyDMs, and with me, as always, is Owen.
Hello, it's been a while.
Yeah, I almost forgot what to do. So,
I mean, we've both had kind of hectic last 5-6 months.
yeah, things have been kind of crazy lately. Different parts of the country being explored, different avenues of other things being explored.
Yes.
The world has started a war, and everything's upside down, and it's all the end times, folks. So
one to the east and one to the south.
So while we enter these biblical times of Armageddon, we thought that it was going to be fun to play Vampire again. And we wanted to take kind of a snapshot and bring you guys all into the lessons that we've kind of learned or the things that we're trying to do in this new campaign. So relax. We're not sitting there talking about characters and telling you how cool our stuff is. This is specifically about running the campaign and how to facilitate a game of V5 in modern time. So that's hopefully there's going to be some good kind of takeaways of things that maybe you want to try. Maybe there's stuff that you have to tell us that we should try based on what we're trying to do. Or maybe you just are bored and you like listening to us drone on, which is, hey, then you're in the right place.
It's about the only thing we're good at.
That is a fantastic use case for this podcast. So, if you like, why don't you sit down and we're going to talk about our Detroit by Night campaign.
Yeah.
So, being the chaotic state that we found our personal lives in, we thought, why not spin up a game of Vampire for like 10 people?
Not all at once, mind you.
So I, GreyDMs, am the storyteller in both of these games, and I had the bright idea of saying, well, hey, let's tell a story set in Detroit, loosely bring in some of the lore that actually exists on Detroit, which is not much, and we can talk a little bit about that. And then what if we divided it into two concurrently running campaigns that took place in the same location, roughly, and kind of dealt with the same politics from different viewpoints? And then what if we built out a lot of the communication for this campaign into Discord, which maybe a year from now, everybody's like, oh, you guys still use Discord?
Yeah, it might not. I mean, it really depends. We might be all transitioning to something different soon.
Yeah, this might be the end of that one. But anyway, our Detroit by Night campaign is really centered around an alternate telling of a little bit of Detroit's history. As far as I know, in Chicago by Night, or Chicago, the supplement book for Chicago, Detroit is really only mentioned a couple times as having had a weak prince, and it was lost to the Sabbat in the 80s. And this was kind of representing the actual economic hard times that Detroit really fell into, and that it was kind of like a Sabbat kind of no-go zone, and definitely not like the organized structure Sabbat as much as like Toronto or, like the kind of the havens, or I think it's Montreal, the havens of the Sabbat. I know that there are some people who have made Detroit like splat books specifically. I don't believe any of them are official. So.
Yeah, there is a plethora of unofficial lore, some of it contradictory to others. So it's kind of hard to find, stuff, but because there's so much of what other people have written, it makes it really interesting to kind of pick and choose what you like.
Yeah. So we kind of settled on like mapping out, okay, so there was a prince. This is kind of what happened that led them to being like in a weakened position, and effectively the Sabbat took over. And then to set the framing of our game, rather than having a game about the Sabbat, we said that there was a kind of a concerted effort by essentially all the kindred in the area to retake the city during what is known as, well, the Long Night was the Sabbat kind of, holding the city. And then we had the Great Thaw, which is basically when the kindred went in and like essentially pulled all the Sabbat out. The anarchs essentially pulled all the Sabbat out, and Detroit was a big city. So the 5 kind of pivotal characters in the freeing of Detroit then took it over. So we divided the city up into 5 baronies, which has the unique effect of being allowed to tell kind of separate individual stories in a barony without having to worry about the greater city politics too much. Because unlike the Camarilla, I don't have to go map out like all the cross politics as much as you'd have to normally. I just have to have like these kind of understandings of how people view each other. And then we can tell like smaller neighborhood stories. So we spun up specifically 2 groups, which one we'll refer to as the in-person group. They meet once a month in person, and that's like filled with a lot of people who've had a lot of vampire experience. And then the other group, which had to supplement some people in to play double duty, was the online group. And they were going to play as fresh Thin Bloods who basically are kind of wrapped up in a little bit of intrigue and were embraced in strange circumstances.
Back of a Volkswagen?
Uncomfortable place. So that was kind of like what we started with. Now, a couple things was obviously it's very fun to detail an entire city full of, barons and connect people together, and that was all done. But basically, I came up with a prompt for the players, which was basically like, hey, the inciting incident to the whole thing is the death of one of the barons.
Yep.
Because now that the death of one of the barons has occurred, basically everything is kind of political, is now on edge, and people are trying to sort out the environment. So the barons have gotten together as far as they can and have said, hey, let's get a third party to come in here and find out what happened so that there's no obfuscation of facts and we can all clearly see, what happened. So that is the group of in-person players. So that was a fun thing of like coming up once again with the stories of, how all these various factions kind of got together. But of course, many people wanted to play their existing characters. So we kind of kicked off the character side of things by asking all you guys, how did you come about being asked to basically be part of this group and like what happened in between? So how did it feel?
That felt a little strange. Like it was a little fast and loose the way that we did it. Because so many of us are playing characters that have met before in other circumstances. 4 of them came from the same campaign. So like, it's just like, this is a little weird.
I've assembled this random group of individuals. Oh, 4 of you specifically were all tied together.
Yeah.
And the other 2 came up from Florida together.
Right. So, I mean, that was a little forced, but I wasn't going to say anything about it because I was like, I know this needs to happen. Yeah. So, like, it just needs to happen. It doesn't look like anybody else really... Teresa kind of said something about like, it's a little weird. We all know each other, and everybody just kind of went like, yeah, it is weird. And then we just moved on.
Yeah. I think this is a good example of like, cause like I said, our topic that we're going to try, dear listener, is to not get into specifics, but to basically tell you things. I think this is a good example of like, as a storyteller or a DM, like you should own up to being able to tell your players, hey, I need you to build a story to this point. Like, I will help you as much as I can, but like it is your duty to get your character to here somehow.
Yeah.
Like, how would you like to do it? And then like push that on them. I think that's completely reasonable. Like, and it can feel a little weird.
I mean, from what people said, I mean, for like Zev, it made sense. Like, I think it was decided his character was there before we even talked about this game. So like for him, it's just like, no, his character went there. Like, he was exiled. This was the only place he could really go.
His backstory made perfect sense that he would end up here.
Yeah. Jason, again, it's a little obvious, but it's like, it's one of those things where it's just like, here's the perfect place you can live. Unfortunately, there's an HOA you're going to have to join.
Oh, all your old friends showed up and they all blame you.
Yeah. Hey, not everybody.
No. It's just your past. Follow me again.
Yeah. My character, I think we came up with a pretty good reason why he's there. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, that was a very much like, okay, I need a carrot. Here's the carrot.
Yeah. And then we have a brand new character, Max's character, Ramon, which I'm not sure what his deal is yet. Max is very good at hiding what he's doing, even if it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Sometimes Max's lack of showing up works in his favor.
Yeah. We go so long and then we kind of forget the nuance of the way he does things. But I fully expect at some point, and I'm hoping it's the next time we get together, the group gets together and he pulls out his sheet of paper and he's just like, well, I mean, I think we should probably start looking at this, and everybody can go, yup, that's a good idea. You're leading this.
You're in charge. By the way, here's a phone call.
So I'm hoping for that, because I mean, every group needs someone to keep them on the rails, and it can't be the DM, because then it's the situation where if the DM does it, then the group is just like, well, it's just a railroad because you're just telling us where to go. It's a catch-22 for a DM.
Yeah.
And I'm so sick of being that person. So I want to do my thing. This is the perfect storm to allow me to just do my thing.
Just you be you, buddy.
Yes. So I'm happy about that.
How is it? Yeah. How is it having, because we only had one session with him. How is it having Max at the table again?
It was nice. He's not playing the type of character I was expecting. Like he's a little aloof in what he's doing. He's investigating something, and he's not hiding that he's investigating something, but he's not coming out and saying like, "Oh, I'm also doing this."
Yeah, he's not playing his exactly typical stuff.
Yeah.
He felt. I feel like this is kind of a rebirth of like the character he tried to play in that old campaign that went wrong. Like the one literally where everybody was calling him and getting pissed off at him.
It's because he played Adventure.
Yeah, because like
the rest of us were not.
Yeah, he kind of has something in his head that he wants to play as.
That's fine. Like I get that feeling. I almost get the feeling of a middle manager who wants a promotion.
Yeah.
Like that's we've only had one game together, so I don't. We'll see if that continues. The thought process continues, but
so speaking of characters, there's another thing we're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Is that one of our characters has to be remote, and
yes,
Drake.
Yes,
that's what we usually call him as, right?
Yes,
Drake usually basically plays in all of our games, and because of all the changes that we went through recently, he now basically is going to be remote for almost all the sessions. Maybe
unless he wants to spend like 8 hours getting here.
Maybe down the road somewhere, like he might show up for one in person. So we had to kind of facilitate that as like, sure, you can just put the computer or the TV on with the thing, which we do. But like, how do you also represent that character has like a disconnection to the group to a certain extent? Because it's very hard for them to interact with everything the DM says. And so what we did is the initial offer that I kind of came up with is, what if you played an information broker? What if you played a person that was basically having a different kind of game, and yours was based more off
just finding things out and selling that information?
Exactly. So we will hopefully get to talk to him in the middle of this campaign, maybe a couple more months from now. But he is having an interesting experience.
I kind of figured, because so I'm hoping he's having fun doing what he's doing, because my watching him play and the things that he's had to do, I would dread doing that. I don't think I wouldn't be able to keep my. So his position right now is just basically, I just sit and watch, and I interject when I need to. And my thing was, I'd constantly be like, "What are you guys? Oh, I gotta tell you something."
Well, I think the chauffeur was like
him trying to do that.
Him was like, I have played 2 sessions and I have not gotten to do anything.
Yeah.
This character shows up because he just started saying that dude was doing things.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, technically that dude's one of my characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I let him do it.
It's like I saw he was doing that, which was specifically why I kept ignoring.
It's really funny. It's like, oh, that's not our car.
Yeah, that's not our car. Somebody left their keys on. Well, they should be careful. This is the type of place somebody might steal it. Well, anyways, let's just keep walking to where we're going.
So to facilitate this kind of play, I mean, obviously meeting in person like you would normally do and doing those things and having discussions in character, but we basically built an entire Discord server trying to compartmentalize all the different communication systems that are happening. So everybody has their own like small personal communication between them and the storyteller. Each group has their own channel, which they can like talk in character or out of character because they have separate ones. But the other thing that I'm trying, which is well, two things that we're trying. First of all, I guess explain is basically instead of just allowing characters to say, hey, I talk to this NPC and I ask them this thing, is to spin up some sort of character for that player to actually talk to in Discord, to like achieve a simulacrum of what would actually be happening of them communicating with that character digitally. And to that end, we use a program called Tupperbox, which basically allows you to create like groups of characters and NPCs where they can have their own name, they can have their own avatar, and then the app in Discord will essentially, when you use the right tag, like delete your message and replace it as if it came from them. And so far, even though it takes a lot of setup, it feels like that's been pretty helpful. Like it's been pretty cool, right?
Yeah, you just have to work within the limitations of it and understand that they exist. But once you do that, it's fine. Just really think out what you're going to do and what you're going to say ahead of time, because you cannot edit it, like you said. Don't do things too quickly, because it basically goes after the last thing that happened, not the first thing that happened. So you can get things out of order very quickly.
And one of the other things I've kind of found too, that's a good advice, is like I've been trying to, especially for certain characters, I've been effectively writing what I want to say and feeding it to like an AI to basically say, hey, like make this character say this thing. So that like it sounds like it's not my writing all the time and it sounds consistent. And I don't do it a lot at work, which is unfortunate, but like sometimes that's why like they're wildly different style come out. And I'm like, because I'm taking the time to do it, and just I don't have enough time at home now to do that all the time. But I was saying, like, as a player who's both used one because you have to play two characters and also like had conversations, like, does it feel more immersive to have that like side conversation where like that little bit of cover, that little bit of like...
It does, because for me at least, it puts me in the mindset I need to be thinking about, because then it becomes, oh, I'm not speaking to Grey, I'm speaking to this persona.
Yeah, it was because I was wondering, like, our Zev, one of our characters, he like is contacted two different people. And so like he was like the first one to do it, like right off the bat was like, hey, I just want to message this person and say this thing. So we spun up a private thread, between, well, basically for him. And then like I acted as this person talking to them. And like I could tell like he took a minute to recalibrate and then started like talking in character. And I was like,
I've noticed, because there's been a few conversations that have happened in like the group areas where I can see him typing. And he types for a long time, and then it goes away. And then I can see him typing. I was just like, yeah, he's trying to think the right way to say this.
Yeah, but like I was like, okay, this is cool. Like this is a person who can do both. He can play as kind of the munchkin, like power gamer thing, or like he can play in character. And now this is almost forcing him a little bit to think a little bit more in character.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that happens more. I mean, it sucks that it's limited to my availability to do it. Originally, I wanted to set up, there is like a couple people who have like created products where you can get custom chatbots to act as people.
You got to be careful with that, though.
Yeah.
And I can imagine setup probably is going, this is the information you have, this is the information you can't have.
And the other problem is that they all basically cost money because like LLMs just cost money to get off of. So like none of them's just doing it for free. So like I was like, this kind of works better. Like I think there is a route down the road. There's someone invented a interface that you have to host on your computer, I believe. But basically what it does is it was designed to do is to sit in a channel and act as a DM for only that channel under like initial guise that it would basically act as the tavern.
Gotcha.
So like it was like, oh, well, this will take care of the barmaid and everything else, and like you can basically ask it. But people had kind of hijacked that to start controlling NPCs, and it would control all the NPCs. So like it basically, you're like, here are all the characters that you can act as, and here's like what they should know and stuff like that. But because I don't have access to a computer that runs constantly to monitor and that stuff, I was like, it's not this time. Maybe next time I'll explore that. So moving on, the other thing that we tried to do, or I'm trying to do, which I know some of the characters haven't involved in yet, but a lot of you jumped on the bandwagon, was now doing a basically virtual Twitch channel to talk. So like my question is, from my perspective, I've kind of seen, and anyway, because I'm the creator of it, I don't really, but like how does it feel to exist like in the space with Ivy? Like your honest opinions.
So the Ivy thing is really interesting. I think it's a really neat idea. I get really uncomfortable when I read what she wrote, and I was just like, "Oh, Grey wrote this."
Yes, she is specifically one of the ones that I keep going to the AI to be like, she needs to say this. Spit it up. So,
and at the same time, it's just like, no, this is 100% what one of these e-girl, stupid things. This is the way they talk and act. And it's like, oh God.
So specifically in the kind of lore of our game, there is a Thin Blood that is basically streaming on Twitch. And yes, this is a massive Masquerade breach, and a lot of people are watching it, but that gives this like weird place where some of the Thin Blood population can join the chat. And so mechanically what we're doing here is we have that chat going because it's a place that effectively the players can, what I was hoping for was like they can, it's a way for me to convey the vibe of the city at any time. That's why she reacts to things, is like, she's like, oh my gosh, like there was this violence thing. Guys, we shouldn't have violence. Like, it's hilarious, or like basically she constantly pushes her viewpoint so that it takes a little bit less time when you guys are at the table to get immersed, because like that's a thing in your head of like, oh, Ivy's doing that. Secondly, it's a fun thing to drop pieces of information of like, wait a second, here's a person you need to look for. Now this is a person saying something and all these things. So like, but also it's this weird thing that it's a person that's basically entirely created in AI, and I'm using AIs to like
the AI to make AI.
Yeah, but seriously, like her images were made in AI. Then I use those as the basis to create more images. So I'm using prompts to do everything. And of course, one of the interesting things that we did, which we kind of talked about, was like I had her talk about a songwriter, and then they released that song, and that song was clearly evident referencing a character.
Right.
And I thought that, I was like, this is like peak immersion for me. Like if I
thought it was fantastic. Because this whole set of other strings was happening at that same time, and then you dropped those couple things, and I was just like, wait, what? Is this really a song? I'm gonna listen to this. Okay, yeah, like it was made in AI. Wait, what? Oh, they're talking about New York. I know what happened. Why does she know what happened? Uh-oh.
So yeah, like that's awesome. Like that's one of the things I really want to get is like the feedback from everybody of like, hey, when you stumbled across that, what did you, because the ultimate goal, I think, of any storyteller, whether you're doing Dungeons and Dragons or Vampire or whatever, is to like, to try to do everything you can to, sorry, there's a conversation going on in Discord apparently that I'm like, what is going on? Is to, the goal of the storyteller, regardless of what system that you're in, is basically to create immersion, right? Like not only to facilitate the story, but then to like help people get stuck in the headspace that this thing existed. And there's like a billion different ways to try to do that, including like where you play, how you play, all kinds of stuff that we tried. But like one of them is like, well, what if that headspace kind of, I really should just mute that instead. I'm gonna drop out of.
I'm assuming that's the family Discord.
Whoa. This will all be edited out tomorrow.
Well, edit all this out, but keep the burp.
Oh, just for context.
Yes.
So yeah, it's like the job of the storyteller to keep that immersion, because like as you walk away from the table and you go about your normal day to day, like sure you think about that stuff, but like eventually enough time goes by and you kind of just forget about it. And to have a constant reminder like on your phone of like that world is still happening, like like it feels like it's a thing where like every once in a while when you have a little time, you're like, ooh, did somebody say something in that chat? Ooh, what's this going on? And like I need to, and then putting the evidence out early on that like, no, not only is this fluff, but like some of this is stuff that will help you figure out things if like you pay attention, that either this is telling you that there's information you should know or that there's someone you should be paying, like those things mattering. And also like the reinforcing of political clashes to be like, okay, you guys got to talk about your feelings of how the thing happened. And it's fantastic that like, so let's move on to that topic, because this was one of the really cool things that happened, and I'm wondering I'm wondering how, because we haven't gotten to play this thing just perfect. It's something I always wanted to do for D&D, but so all we need to know about what happened was a bunch of the Kindred players who are investigating the Baron's death met another like normal vampire Kindred group who were in the process of essentially like kicking some Thin Bloods out of their territory.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing so pretty aggressively. When that happened in our in-person session, there wasn't a lot of hierarchy boasting, because it's not the Camarilla, right? They're all anarchs, so they're kind of like, oh, you're here, we're here. There's no need to like compare measurements or anything like that. Let's have this happen. So the people felt like, oh, we're kind of in the same peer group. Then in the online group, those Kindred showed up as bullies and aggressors to Thin Blood.
Mm-hmm.
And now you had a different group of players who kind of got to see them as ruthless, like, like oppressors, right?
Yeah.
Of like, hey, you guys stepped out of line and we came here to deal with this. And really ultimately kind of, even though I definitely think your character kind of saved one Thin Blood's life by like at least kind of voicing an opinion, everybody watched the other Thin Blood basically. They're like,
Yeah. And I had mixed feelings with that because the two characters I'm playing in this game are at complete opposite ends of the spectrum. And I have difficulty separating the two from time to time. And I would appreciate it if you see me doing that you mention it so I can be like, oh, let me step back for a minute. Okay, I need to clear my brain. But yeah, so Dale still is a relatively young vampire. And he's in an unfamiliar place. And the situation he ran into, he didn't see it as unreasonable. He saw it as like tragic, though. Like, this is bad that this is happening. But in his mind, he's like, I know from experience that this is going to be a sacrifice no matter what. And if we can at least minimize, what that loss is, that's a win. No one's going to be happy about this, but, at least instead of 2 lives, only 1 life got taken. Next time, be smarter about this. And like that was what I was trying to give to the group as, this is the way I'm acting. These are the things I'm saying. But like I said before, some of those people are going to die.
Like it's really kind of it's very cool. So, and specifically, I guess the audience too, like less on, personally, we kind of like know how you're playing and how you're seeing the two characters. But I'm like, how kind of interesting was it also to see that was the introduction?
Yeah. So the first introduction we got
Riley
of them was kind of, I don't want to say muted, but more respectful. And then the second introduction was kick the fucking door down, grab somebody, beat the fuck out of them. There's nothing you can do about this. Don't do it again. Like, those were the two. And it was interesting to see that because I can't wait until there's a situation where both groups are dealing with these people at the same time or talking about these people to each other. And it's just like, oh, man, there's going to be quite the disconnect here.
Yeah, so the 2 new players who are in the online group, their whole thing, because they were Thin Blood, they watched this thing that we're describing occur.
These people are villains to them now.
Yeah, and they watched monsters essentially come in and kill people who were essentially what they were learning to be peers with. Like, they were like, oh, these people are like me. And like, oh, they
just watched them get stomped.
Yeah, they're like, hey, we're all puppies, and someone came in there and kicked a puppy to death, like, what is happening, so...
And they got angry they didn't get to kick 2 puppies to death.
They were kind of upset about that. So that's all like, I'm very happy with the result of what happened. I think everything I wanted in that scene happened. And, that's always like, you never know if that's going to happen as a storyteller.
Yeah.
And specifically because it was the first session of this game, I wanted, you kind of want a heavy hand on certain things just to make sure the tone gets set.
Yeah.
And then in response to this, we go over to our fake Discord channel, and we have Ivy, who is part of like the peer group of the second,
Yes.
start like putting a tearful post about, hey guys, violence is the wrong answer. And everybody in the online table was just like, oh, but some people need to get.
And only one of us knew what happened. Like I don't think I replied as Dale in that one at all so far. I think I only replied as Keith.
It was like the prison experiment, you know, where they separate the two groups, and one group's like, well, you're a prisoner, so you're bad. And like, it's an experiment. It was like you guys were like, hey, that sometimes this happens. I was like, this is awesome.
No, it's 100. It's 100% true, like what you said, and it's like I said, Keith is of a different cast, so he's just like, yeah, these are the dirty people. Like they need to know their place.
It's like, but I mean,
they only learn when you beat them.
Yeah, you went into the wrong place. That was clear. The rule was posted on the door.
Yeah.
What more can we do other than post the rule on the door? You know?
It was your mistake that you couldn't read the sign. What more do you want?
Like, I want to get, was it Sam and Sajin or whatever, the two Thin Bloods. I really want to get them into like looking at that channel and going like, oh, like, and I know what you said today was absolutely true, is that it probably is just too intimidating for them.
Yeah.
So I need to, on my end, I need to kind of flood it with some more stuff to like kind of make them.
Yeah.
It was so like, I thought it was like, it's rare. So much time is spent as a storyteller or a DM trying to set a vibe or a theme for your campaign. And this was so clear that it fired off. It was like the match was lit and it exactly ignited the way I needed it. And I'm like, ooh, okay, this is the tone. This is perfect. Like between these two groups, I wanted, and it also makes the two Thin Bloods see like Dale, who is like not of their world, and here as this thing of like, but why are you here? And could we trust, like now there's all these complicated things, you know, and the best character to have that, because he earnestly is like, I don't like that this happened.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
yeah.
Like he's like, I may do something about it, which is not the right thing to do, but it's fantastic, you know?
Yeah. I was really hoping when that situation was going on and he threw out that bit about, you know, oh, this is like some Camarilla shit that's going on. I was hoping you'd be like, oh, they don't like that you said that, but you just kind of like, yeah, and just kind of kept going with it. I was like, eh.
Well, I just think that I mean, there's stuff about, it's hard to play. It's we're all learning, you know, so it's hard to play so many characters, and the voice of their group. Yeah. Like in my head was like, he doesn't mind the Camarilla as much as the rest of his group, you know? So he would not react to that. Yeah. He would not see that as
like if it was still around, he'd be a member, probably.
Yeah. He's a pretty boy. Pretty boys do well in the ivory tower. So yeah, we said we were not going to talk about specifics. I did, and we talked about specifics.
Yeah,
but anyway, so things that we have learned so far. Digital immersion is cool, is like useful so far, right?
It's just like you said, we need to get more people involved, because so far it seems like, at least group wise, it seems like there's only about 3 or 4 of us that are really doing much with it. It sounds like behind the scenes, outside of the group, there are more people that are talking to you.
Yeah. I think so. One of the things is we do in these games, at least we kind of started a habit of, and this is something I kind of recommend that people do, is like you open up the communication with your players for them to do something during downtime. And I think some of our players are currently kind of seeing that as like, oh, I could just write something and let it happen. And I'm like, no. We have such downtime that like, I want to kind of make what you said happen. Yeah. And so I want this to like, you to get feedback that this happened, so that you are armed to make a decision about what you want to do. Because ultimately the goal really is to play a VTM game in the style of West Marches, which is that we only play when the group comes up with an objective.
Right.
So if the group says, hey, we're going to go to this place and do this thing, then I'm like, okay, now we're ready to go, because I can go pound that out in a couple days. I'll have everything I need to play it. I'll introduce my own stuff to keep complications running, and then everybody will have a good time. And absolutely the knowledge is in the group right now to do it with redundancy.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to take a little bit to coax everybody to start talking enough about it that they will volunteer, like, oh, maybe we should go do this.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think this has been a pretty interesting experiment, and I think it's been fun so far, I hope.
Yeah, I like it.
So, yeah, we're hoping to... We're not going to be doing regular updates like we would before, where we're talking about we are, like I said, Owen said, our
situations
have
changed,
just getting fixed, and hopefully when things settle back down, some completely new avenues open up.
Yes,
I'm thinking of a certain device that Steam is making, and
yes,
some interesting content that we can maybe do.
Let's hope we don't have to take out a mortgage on our homes to be able to purchase it with the way that electronics have been going up.
But yeah, hopefully we can do more of this, and I think we will plan to do another one of these in, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 months, where we now have a couple good sessions under our belt, and we can bring some other people and maybe get Jason in here and, you know, start getting some opinions of what's happening, because the worst part of this for me, and you are definitely not at fault in this in any way, because it'll make sense in a second, is not getting feedback.
Yeah.
Because, like, you're one of the ones who immediately starts getting, and I'm like, okay, cool. But, like, when I'm waiting on pins and needles for, like, half the group to say something, I'm like, is this all wrong? Are they all twigged out about the weird AI Twitch streamer who's now posting emojis and stuff?
I almost think what you need to do is create some kind of timer that's in Discord, so you don't have to manually do it, but like every couple days, hey, we've got this long until we're playing next. You got to get this stuff, you know, this, and this, because otherwise, and it's happened to me, like literally realizing it's been over 2 weeks since we played that game, and I'm just like, no, we just played that. Oh shit, no, it's been over 2 weeks. Yeah. Crap.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe I can find another one of those, like, because I think I can set up the event notifications with that one app. But like, I probably need to get like some sort of AI reminder that's
use Ivy.
Hey guys, time for your homework. Now, she's got a purpose to do tonight if I get back in there.
Man, it is windy out.
You remember that movie? Like, I never watched it, but there was that movie with Al Pacino where he made the digital actress.
No.
Oh, it was like 10, 15 years ago, and he made this all digital actress. I think it was played by the one, she was in the movie where she was an immortal, tall. Oh, she was Aeon Flux.
Oh, Charlize Theron?
Yeah, I think it was her who did it. And like the whole thing was like, he was like a director, and he couldn't find the actress he wanted. So he like took the film and made her, but then like he had to start pretending like she was real.
Oh,
so like he was inserting her into like love affairs and stuff. And it was this whole commentary, and now all that stuff's real.
Yeah.
Yeah. I constantly get back at the controller and I'm like, ooh, what can I make her do? You know? Or like the dude from was it the dude from Matrix who's like, do you want some time with the lady in red? Like,
all I was thinking of, if you want total immersion, at some point she's got to put a link to her OnlyFans site.
I swear that was on the list of things where I was like, this is really funny if I do this, and I just link it to like the Rickroll video or something, so anybody clicks on it, be like, oh, you're bad. Yeah.
Or just do the fake thing where it's just like, no, it's OnlyFans. You know, we've got desk fans, we've got standing fans.
Exactly. All right. Well, that winds down our conversation. Yeah, I hope everybody's having fun with this.
Yeah, I'm having fun, and I'm open to any suggestions people have for ideas of things that we can do to increase and improve the immersion.
Absolutely. Any tips, tricks, anything like that, if you guys listen to this. We know we haven't been able to talk to you, and it kind of sucks, but that's the way life goes. And, you know, if someday we got a fat stack of cash and made our own studio, and we could just do this every day when we do that. But honestly, nobody's asking for that. So.
Nope. And right, they shouldn't.
Exactly. All right, guys. Well, with that, I think we're going to end this session.
All right.
Later.
Gather round you, wanderers, and hear a mournful tale of the half-lit folk of Newark, living lean and pale, pushed out from the gleaming streets by lords in marble halls, till a healer they called Doc took them in behind cracked walls. Across the river's roar we roam, far from the shining towers, hunted at night, unwelcome at dawn. We carried our faith through the hours. The brothers and sisters faint of flame, remember the night of gore. We marched to the bay where the theater lay, and returned to our home no more. Life was thin as a winter wind, and no one walked alone, for the rebels in the city claimed the drifting ones as own. So they traveled close in ragged lines through alleys cold and tight, trying to keep their fading spark from dying in the night. Then a young and silver-tongued wanderer across the tide, saying, "Why bow to the river lords who jeer from the other side? They feast beneath bright lanterns while we shiver in the rain. Their theater in Sheephead's Bay is where they stake their reign." Across the river's roar we roam, far from the shining towers, hunted at night, unwelcome at dawn. We carried our faith through the hours. Brothers and sisters faint of flame, remember the night of gore. We marched to the bay where the theater lay, and returned to our home no more. He stirred their weary spirits with his call for rightful place, till anger rose like new blood warm in every sunken face. They rose as one, an angry tide, and crossed the darkened way, dreaming they would tear the tower down before the break of day. But the watcher of the ivory throne was waiting in the gloom, with his hounds behind him moving like the heralds of their doom. They met them in the theater where the velvet seats were torn, and the river folk were scattered like reeds before a storm. Across the river's roar we roam, far from the shining towers, hunted at night, unwelcome at dawn. We carried our faith through the hours. Brothers and sisters faint of flame, remember the night of gore. We marched to the bay where the theater lay, and returned to our home no more. A broken few escaped the fray and sought the silver tongue, begging for his promised aid, for they were old and young. But he turned his cloak toward the tower with a smile sharp as a knife, leaving them to wander back alone, robbed of hope and life. They crossed the river limping, with their shadows dragging long, but Newark fires were rising high like a pyre burning strong. Their refuge burned to cinders, and their healer, good old Doc, lay silent in the embers with no voice left to unlock. Across the river's roar we roam, with no heart left to claim. Our dreams lie ash on a broken shore, our shelter lost to flame. So raise your voice, you wanderers, for those who walked before, on the night we marched to Sheephead's Bay and came home nevermore.